Okay, another quick little tip I'm going to show you in Illustrator is a fantastic tool that is very useful. That tool is called the Pathfinder tool. So to find the Pathfinder tool, you just go to Window, and it's down here in Pathfinder. So Window, and then Pathfinder, you can press P, and it takes you straight to the Pathfinder tool. The Pathfinder tool, there's 4 options here, but mainly we just use this one and this one. So Unite and then minus front. They're the main ones we use. So what we'll do is we'll just talk about how it works to begin with, just by using simple shapes. So I'm going to get the rectangle tool, draw a simple rectangle. I'm going to change the color from black to red. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another shape. So what I'll do is I will draw a circle, change that to yellow. So now we have 2 shapes. And we know that when Illustrator draws shapes, they are 2 separate objects on top of each other. So because I drew the yellow shape last, the circle, that always appears on top of the shape. I can change the order by right-click, and I can go to Arrange and then Center Back, and it sends it backwards. And again, I can bring it back to the front again, Arrange, bring to front. Now, what the Pathfinder tool does, what it does is it allows us to unite these 2 shapes together. So we can see the 2 separate objects. If I view the outline mode, again, this is really handy to use when you're thinking about the laser cutter. You can see that if this was to laser cut this out, it would just cut it down here, and we'd have a section out of the square here. So what we're going to do is, we are going to go back to our shapes. We want to join these 2 together. It's dead simple. All we do is we click and we drag, so they are both selected. That's important. Once they are both selected, we can then click the Unite tool. That unites the 2 shapes together. Again, let's have a quick check in our outline mode. We can now see we have a continual line around the outside, which would allow us to laser cut that shape. Okay, so if I just undo that and I show you the other one, so you can do it the same way, select them both, click that, and then you can take it away. So again, it's a way to create complex shapes or adding shapes together. So let's just undo that. So how can we use it when we're designing? We have our Christmas tree here from the previous tutorial. So what I can do is, on this Christmas tree, if I wanted to design something like a tree that was slotted together, so for example, something like this, these sort of things here, easy to do. What we do is we just take our Christmas tree, we bring it into the center. Now we'll need 2 of these, so we're going to copy it. Okay, a quick way to copy on Illustrator is by pressing the Alt key down and then clicking and dragging, and you get 2 copies. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to just have a quick measure to see how high this is, roughly. Okay, it's 195. That's the rough height of it. So my maths isn't fantastic. So I'm going to get my calculator out and do 195 divided by 2. Okay, that's 97.5. So what I want to do is I want to create a slot that's 97.5 up here and also down here as well. Now this, looking at it, it might not work very well because the top of the Christmas tree has a star on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove that, because that's going to cause us a problem, because we can't do the slot down there because it'd be too narrow. So I'm just going to chop the top of my tree off, okay, by using the Pathfinder tool. So I'm going to do that and chop it off. Let's just do it one at a time. Okay, let's chop it off. Okay, so my tree's there. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, I'm just going to copy this one like that. And I'm going to have to remeasure this again. So a quick look. Okay, this time it is 164, thereabouts. So round to 165. So again, 165 divided by 2 is 82.5. So I'm going to change this to 82.5. So I'm going to here, transform, and I'm going to change the height to 82.5. And then the width. Now the width of my material is going to be 3 millimeters. So I'm going to have those 3. Okay, and what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to just duplicate that as well. So two of them. Now just change the color. Let's make it a bit more festive. Let's turn it to green, and let's turn it to green as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the slot inside this tree. So I'm going to pop that there, like that. And what I'm going to do to make sure it's in the center, I'm going to highlight it all. So make sure I just get these two. That one and that one. And when I highlight it, I notice if I look to the top right hand corner, I can see I get this menu. This is a really handy menu. This one looks like some marshmallows on a stick, is a line. It means if you click that, everything aligns to the center. So it's aligned that in the center of this drawing. And what I will do is I will do the same thing in this one. So again, let's do that. Click that one and align that through the center. What I'm going to do now, dead simple, I'm going to click that, use my pathfinder and take it away. I'll put a slot in there. And then also I'm going to use my pathfinder and take that away. So I've put a slot in there. So that means now that when these two are laser cut, okay, what we can do is they can just simply slot in together. So that point would meet that point, and because I've drawn it halfway, they both would fit. Now let's say we wanted to add a little slot in. Let's say I want to make a stand for this, so it stands on something. So what we would do is we would look at creating a little section in the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to again just get a circle, a square like that, and I'm going to go to transform. And for this, I'm going to do it at 20 wide. The width doesn't really matter. It can be as wide as it wants. But the height does, because the material is 3 millimeters. So the height has to be 3. Okay, like that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to zoom in. And we're going to put this onto here. And again, we're going to use that. I'll change the color so we can see it. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and we are going to use the align tool again, just to align those to the center. And I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to now just get those two and then join them together. So what that's done now is it's creating me like a little slot here. So if I wanted to, I could, oh, here we go. I could draw like a base. So hold down Shift. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this slot into here. So again, I know it was 20 wide by 3. Okay, let's change the color so you can see it against there. And that would just quite simply be put in the center. And if we weren't sure where the center was, again, we could just use the align to the center that way, and you could use it through that way. And then what we do is we just do that, and then we would remove it, and you can see we now have a stand for our Christmas tree. So that would slot in top of there. This would then sit into here, and hey presto, we have a stand-up Christmas tree, all taken from a simple drawing of an image. If you wanted to think about laser cutting, you could spin that round. Okay, we could put them together like that. Thinking about saving material, you could put that like that. And what I'm going to do is just do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw it inside a nice box with a rounded rectangle for the edges. Okay, like so. I'm going to arrange, bring to front, arrange center back. Okay, can't really see that. Let's call that as maybe the wood. Okay, and what we could do here, this could be a nice little gift. So we could say, okay, my tree is there, that is there, that is there. And we could send that in the mail to somebody. You could maybe write some writing on here. So let's have a look. So again, let's zoom into the writing. You can write. Oops. On. You can write Happy Christmas, and you can say who it's from. Christmas. You can choose also a nice font then to be a suitable style. So here you could pick any font you want, like that, and you go to fonts, and let's look for maybe a kind of that sort of style. Maybe it's a bit too big. Now, if we are doing this with a laser cutter, we would need to make sure that that is a white background. These would have to be black outlines with no fills. So again, outline black, no fill. And that one again, no fill. Like that. Black outline. So a quick look. Doesn't look like it's showing very well. It's there. Just very thin. This again would have to be black outline. No fill. Okay. Let's just double check everything is 0.25 as well. That's what it needs to be. Looks very thin on there, but remember, view outline, that's what we see. Okay. And then for the writing, okay, what you have to do is right click and you have to go create outlines, because then you can see that we can see the writing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have no fill on that. And I'm going to change that to red, because red will engrave, black will cut. And you can see here, if I then place that into my design, again, it's maybe a bit too big, like that. What you've got there is potentially a nice little gift that you could send to somebody and they could assemble their own little Christmas tree from yourself.